Hello friends, in today's video I'm going to explain the concept of slope. Slope comes up a lot. It's an important kind of fundamental idea in algebraic geometry where you're putting things on a graph, you're looking at linear functions, linear equations. And so if you understand what slope is, it'll really help you to kind of build a good foundation for the rest of math. And in physics, we use the slope a lot. The slope has a particular meaning, and depending on the graph that we're looking at the slope will give us new quantities. And so it's really foundational, really fundamental. And I'm going to give you a way of thinking about slope that I think is really going to help. Okay, it's not just about the formula. Don't just use the formula. I want you to have this kind of understanding about what slope is. So we're going to start by looking at three lines, and I want you to imagine for a second that this is an activity that we do with our physics classes. Imagine for a second that these are water slides, and you've got to pick the water. You've got to come up with a water slide steepness rating. Okay, that you're going to tell a company or a theme park which slides are the steepest, and you're going to have a rating for the slides that'll tell you which slide is the steepest. And so the higher the number, the steeper the slide is going to be. And you want this to be a calculation, right? Like a mathematical, scientific calculation that you can say this is based in evidence and real data about these slides, right? And so the steepness of these lines is what we're going to look at. So what do we have to go on? Well, if we have these lines, so if we look at line A, for example, we notice horizontally it goes this way 1 unit, and it goes up 2. And I mean, well, just from looking, which line is the steepest? A is the steepest. B and C are taller, but we're not asking about how tall they are. We just want to know which one is the steepest. And so all we really have to go on are these dimensions, the horizontal and the vertical. A goes over 1, up 2. So B goes over 3 and also up 3. And C goes over, I think this is 8, and it goes up 4. All right, now what do I want to do with these numbers to be able to get a rating where the highest number belongs to A, where the steepest slide has the highest number? If I add them or if I multiply them, whatever I do with that, C is going to be the biggest, right? It would be 12 versus 6 versus 3, or if I multiply them, it's going to be the same. C is going to be the biggest, A is going to be the smallest. But if I divide, and specifically if I divide the vertical by the horizontal, then A is going to have the highest number. Watch what happens. So this is 2 over 1. That gives me a steepness rating, or a steepness index, you could say, of 2. 3 over 3 is 1. And 4 over 8, I simplify that to 1/2. Okay, so that gives me the result that I want. So by and what did I do? I took the vertical divided by the horizontal. Okay, now that's great. So in terms of formula, that's what I did. I took the vertical, I divided by the horizontal. But what does it mean? What is the meaning of this number 2? Well, here's what it means. That for every 1 unit I move to the right, I go 2 units up. That's what it means. It's telling me how much vertical change there is for every 1 unit of horizontal change, right? So for every 1 horizontal change, I get 1 vertical change. Every 1 change to the right, I go 2 up, right? And it's positive 2, so that means I'm going up 2. And so this is how I want you to think about what slope is. Slope is the vertical change for every 1 unit of horizontal change. Okay, that is what slope is. And you can think of this in terms of other indices. So for example, a batting average. The batting average, someone has a batting average of 200, 0.20. That means that for every 1 at bat, they get 0.2 hits. I mean, that doesn't make sense. How do you get 0.2 of a hit? But we're talking about over time, how that works. And so let's look at an example. Here is a slope. Here's a line, and we want to see how the formula applies. because we can memorize the formula, but again, we're working on the understanding here. Now, just a quick look at this, we could see that, okay, well, if I'm going over 1, I'm trying to find the, if it's the vertical change for every horizontal change, then really quickly I can look, by going over 1, I'm going up 1/2. Okay, so I can see, so 1/2. I can see pretty quickly here that the slope is going to be 1/2, right? M equals 1/2. Fine. But let's say that it's not that easy. They're not lining up directly with the points. You can't see necessarily where 1 is, or the size of the graph is different. So we want to find 2 points, and then we're going to look at how the formula applies for those 2 points. So let's pick, I'm going to pick this point, and I'm going to pick this point. Okay, so what are the coordinates of these points? The first one is 2, 1. The other one is 6, this is 3, right? So 6, 3. And then, so now I'm going to see if I go over and up, that's what I want to find, right? What's the vertical over the horizontal? Well, the way that I would find the vertical, let's say that it's not easy for me to just count. Right, we can verify it. This is easy. We can count, right? It's going from 3 to 1, so we just count. This is 2. But again, let's assume so what I do is I take this coordinate, this horizontal coordinate, 3, and I'm going to subtract what's going on. So I take this vertical coordinate 3, and I subtract the other coordinate 1. 1 is the other vertical coordinate, and I get 2. And that makes sense. That's the horizontal, that's the vertical change. And then for the horizontal change, I do 6 minus 2. Okay, and 6 minus 2 will give me 4. And so then I would, to find the slope, right, M is going to be the vertical change over the horizontal change, like I found before. And this is going to be 1/2. Great. Well, how did I get the 2 and the 4? Well, I got the 2 because I did 3 minus 1. And I got the 4 because I did 6 minus 2. That gives me 2 over 4, which gives me 1/2. All right, well, where did the 3 come from? Well, the 3 is this guy right here. And what is that? That's the y-coordinate of what we can call the second point. So that is y2 minus, and then the 1 was the y-coordinate of what we call the first point. So y2 minus y1. And then the 6 is the x-coordinate of the second point. 2 minus the 2, which is the x-coordinate of the first point. And so this is the formula for slope. So all it's doing is telling us the vertical change over the horizontal change. We put that in there, and then we simplify so that we can get one number, and that number tells us the vertical change for every 1 unit of horizontal change. So that is the meaning of the formula and where it comes from. And so what about something like a negative slope, right? If I have a line something like this, well, all this is telling me is that for every 1 unit I go over, I'm going down 2 units, negative 2. So this would give me a slope of negative 2 over 1. So this is just negative 2. Again, what is this saying? That for every 1 unit I go to the right, I'm going 2 units down. Okay. And so even for like a positive slope, you know, if you pay attention to the negatives, it all works out. For something with a positive slope, if it was like this, you know, well, what if you're going to the left? You know, you're going left, negative 1. All right, don't forget left would be negative. Then you're going down, negative 2. So negative 2 over negative 1 still gives you a positive number. It gives you a positive slope. And so that's how you get the idea of going up to the right is positive, like this one, right? And going down to the right, as you're going down to the right, that gives you negative. It all comes out of this idea of the vertical change for every horizontal change, and pay attention to direction, positive and negative, and it all works out. So again, what is slope? I think it really helps to conceptualize it and think of it as this way, as the vertical change for every 1 unit of horizontal change. Okay, so I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to ask questions in the comments if you want. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.